Okay, what if we have a system failure? If our body is out of whack and we've got a disease going on, what can we do to help fix that problem? Well, we have a list concerning that system, which I often refer to, which is nutrition. We have to look at the system, so nutrition, avoid injurious foods is as important as the nutrition. Exercise, getting that peripheral pump working and taking blood back up to the heart. Water, not dehydrating the body, not taking dehydrating substances. Rest, including the pancreas and stomach. Timing of meals. Oxygen uptake. How we can improve that. Sunshine. Mental health. We need to believe in our God-given self-healing abilities. So we have that list. And just in case we don't know what to do with that list, because it's written out here on a PDF, a good breakfast should never be skipped. Good meal timing controls blood sugars, and a good breakfast is often not in a cereal box. Understand that. I hear so often a person having some coffee and toast and expecting everything to work fine. Well, it doesn't work like that. Use 3 to 4 food combinations at a meal. Use it at breakfast. 3 or 4 combinations of fruits every meal with a variety of foods throughout the week. The colors of the rainbow. In the plants, there's the colors. In the meats, there's not much variety of color, but in the plants, you will find the colors and the various colors throughout the week. Most people overeat with too many meals, and that's part of the problem. That is upsetting the microbes. What is happening in the gut? Because it's not being eliminated, it's just being put it one on top of the other. Rest is an important part of natural law that governs every living thing, including our organs of digestion, and so 2 decent meals are better than 3, or even worse still is the continual eating through snacking, grazing, and people are encouraged to do that. But will we run a washing machine all day long? Everything in nature rests. Eating before bed keeps the stomach and pancreas working throughout the night. Now, if we're looking as a diabetic at these things, note generally melons increase blood sugars in diabetics, watermelons, rock melons. But if that's not your problem, then you don't need to worry. You can include that with your breakfast. But limit the number of foods you're having at the meal. Tea and toast for breakfast is a poor meal, which I've already mentioned, which I hear people labeling as the good breakfast. Liquid with meals will wash down salivary amylase, which we're trying to use to pick up our carbohydrates. So carbohydrates cannot be easily digested with liquid meals, and most breads are poorly made by the yeast, the flour, the oils, the other ingredients that form the bread. That does not mean that bread cannot be good for you, but it's the commercial bread is usually not high quality because of its ingredients. So imagine making a recipe with apples and broccoli and eating it. Yuck, you wouldn't do it, would you? You wouldn't put it in the blender and whiz it up and eat it. Not normally. I mean, I've seen a recipe out there for it. Doesn't make sense to mix the two outside, so it doesn't make sense to do it on the inside. These are two different types of food. Vegetables, long-acting. Fruit, with its sugars, fast-acting. Fruit and vegetables should be eaten at separate meals. Before you place anything in the stomach, think of the combination of the food you're about to eat, whether it's suitable for a recipe. And it's that simple. Free oils, processed oils oxidize. And the research is there, it's there on the site. And fats clog the system, block signals, and have an inflammatory effect. The biggest killer is heart disease with cancer and diabetes associated. Check the contents of your products for fats and oils. These have a major detriment on the health. And we notice as an example of self-repair, an image in which a person is given 2 months to live with coronary heart disease. And Dr. Kedell Esselstyn, gets an image taken of this. And 2.5 years later, the person is still living and the body's self-healed. The artery is being put back to normal. So plant-based meal is what he concentrated on to get the results, and it was free of the oils. So this is a proof that's given. We need proof as to our rationale and proof as to what approach we will make. Dehydration is a common problem with caffeine drinks and alcohol, and has a arthritic result in people who are already chronically dehydrated. Most people don't drink enough water, and the way we have it is before and after the meal. The body needs cleansing, just like the outside, the inside. So water 30 minutes before the meal or 1 hour after the meal. Many people don't ensure the inside is clean by pure water. Colas and sugar drinks have a result in poor health with weight gain. They are sugar stacked, and using artificial sweeteners can be detrimental to the nerves. Salt is required. Some people are going without salt for years. How can they have good quality blood? A good quality salt. It's not any salt. It's not just the sea salt. The best salt at the moment out there is Celtic sea salt. It's required to pick up the minerals. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to pick up the minerals through the medium of the plant, and we can pick up those trace elements we need also through salt. So it's required for good blood, and many are going without salt on poor advice, nutritional advice. I've heard it on the radio. You get enough salt from your canned foods and goods. Well, what sort of salt are they putting in that? Just rubbish. But this is all about the type of salt, one that is higher in magnesium. Bad salt damages the body, but so does no salt. Plants have therapeutic properties when added consistently to the meal. So it means that if we need to pick up on something, we need to have it therapeutically, as well as we can direct blood to the area. Then we have a key for healing. For example, when my dog had kidney damage, I was supplementing. So before it had its meal, I was syringing into its mouth pure grape juice because it's a vasodilator. The lungs can expel toxic air, and then when we inhale with breathing exercises, therapeutic oils such as pine and eucalyptus can heal. These oils, which make up the continents, so eucalyptus for this country, pine for the United States, but we can use these oils to have a therapeutic effect. So it was the combination of eucalyptus and tea tree that was good against golden staph. When we inhale this into the lungs, and then we can also direct the blood to this area by putting a hot pack on the back over the area where the lungs would be to get blood to that area. Now we have an idea for helping those with COVID-19. They can simplify, purify their diet and bring blood to the area, have a healing effect with those therapeutic oils. When we simplify our lifestyle, and that's the key, and food intake, we increase our self-healing. And this idea of moderation in good and bad things, like I ate my vegetables and had chocolate cake, does nothing. It should be moderation in all good things. If we're serious about healing, if we really want that, then generally we're going to be stepping forward by increasing the quality of our food, and not a moderation in good and bad things, but a moderation in all good things. Animals, like humans, have their own set of microbes, and some are naturally designed to be scavengers, and eating them does not make for good blood. It only makes sense. For example, my cat can eat a rat. The point is that natural scavengers, when eaten, do not produce good quality blood. And I mean, it's at this point now where fish, and it's shown on a documentary, I wish I could download or direct people to that documentary. I think it's called Philo Fish. It was on RT, and it shows the problem. Well, it says that fish is one of the most toxic things on the planet, because one fish eats another fish, eats another fish, and the increase in toxicity is exponential as it goes up the food line. And we think also of when they've gone to the North Pole and pull out a ice core, we find heavy metals, DDT, all those things. So the planet is chronically polluted, leading to cancer because of the toxins that are going up the food chain. And this is as much an issue as COVID-19. A 1999 autopsy study of young adults in the US between the ages of 17 and 34 years who had died from accidents, suicides and homicides confirmed that coronary artery disease is already in this young age group. The disease process at this stage is too early to cause a coronary event, so the body's dealing with it, but heralds the onset in the decades to follow. Just with one fatty meal, there's a difference in our nitric oxide levels. A person may appear to be healthy and have a heart attack because the person has not secured the oxidized cholesterol. And it's not going to be given as a cholesterol reading if it's a plant oil. And plant oils just as much cause the problem. They can be read as a peroxide reading to see whether that oil is off or not, but it's not controlled. The research has been done, but it's not controlled out there. The fatty material moves through the system and allows it to kill the people. Many people I've seen have the results of oxidized cholesterol showing in the Doppler readings that they get. The body patches, the inflamed area affected by fatty fibrous material, and this is secured and it builds up as calcification, doing the person a service in not allowing it to go into the body and cause harm. This whole process can be reversed, and so we have the ability to do it in ourselves, but we have to be intelligent and have the fortitude and the will to want to reverse the problem. So there's some ideas as to the direction we need to be going. We need to get results when we go plant-based. One meal is going to be vegetable, 3 or 4 combinations. We're going to try and avoid fats and oils other than those that are encased in the food, in the olive or in the avocado. On the other meal, we're going to have fruits. The idea that fruits play around with blood sugars is a misnomer. It's not true. Most fruits out there will control our blood sugars. The research papers tell us that. And we need to have good rest times in between the meals so we're cleaning the body out. Our urine should, at some stage in the day, be clean. And we have water half an hour before the meal, 1 hour after the meal. If we're grazing all the time, how can we clean the body out appropriately? We won't be able to. So we're looking at those lifestyle factors, and there's many more we can look at. If we go down our list, exercise. We need to exercise to sweat, a good brisk walk, and deep breathe as we're doing. Water. We need to, as we said, half an hour before the meal, 1 hour after the meal, not with the meal, so we're not washing down salivary amylase. Rest. We talk about stomach, pancreas rest. We don't want the body working on overdrive. We need to be balancing our work life with our rest. We need to not be eating just before we go to bed, so we've got the body resting that way. So there's different aspects of rest. I haven't covered all of them here. Even weekly rest from work. Oxygen uptake, that's going to be affected by how much exercise, the deep breathing we're doing. If a person sings, it's going to be fantastic, or playing a wind instrument. We can improve oxygen also by those therapeutic oils. We can improve it by opening the window and making sure that inside the house is thoroughly aired every day. A room that we're living in should be aired thoroughly and clean, because these viruses, toxins, fungus are floating through the air, and so we need to clean the room out. So what we're taking into the system is cleansing. So we can have damp areas outside the house. Those damp areas come into the house, and it can cause fungal problems, which can cause cancer problems. Sunshine, vitamin D, that's become like a dirty word, but when we're doing it as a synthetic, as a tablet to get vitamin D, or not using the natural ways, we're not going to get the same result. So we need to use our wisdom about this. Sunshine is good for you, provided you haven't got a filthy diet. The skin is an extra organ, and when the sun hits the skin, if we're having those toxic fats and oils, it's going to come out with the skin cancers and problems. Otherwise, if we're eating well, and it's the same as what we talked about with microbes, if we're eating well, then the sunshine will have a positive effect. Same as if we're eating well, it will have a positive effect on the microbes. Mental health. We have to believe in our God-given self-healing abilities. The belief in ourself is so poor and so reliant on somebody else, when our destiny is in our own hands. We should have an intelligent understanding of health.